Have you ever spoken in a room full of people and felt invisible? You're trying to make a point. Your words are clear, your message matters, but someone cuts you off. Others talk over you. Worse, they laugh at a joke made at your expense, and you smile politely, pretending it doesn't sting. Deep down, you know your ideas are worth hearing. So why does it feel like no one takes you seriously? Here's the truth. Respect isn't just about what you say, it's about how you say it. And the Stoics, those ancient masters of inner strength, knew this long before psychology gave it a name. They spoke little, but with weight. They didn't chase attention, they commanded it. And when they spoke, people listened. In today's world of noise, interruption, and ego, speaking like a Stoic is a secret weapon. One that earns you respect without raising your voice, without pretending, without losing yourself. In this video, I'll show you 8 powerful communication techniques inspired by Stoic philosophy. Simple, calm, but deeply effective. So if you've ever walked away from a conversation feeling unheard, overlooked, or underestimated, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you won't just speak to be heard, you'll speak to be respected. Skill 1. Make a powerful first impression without saying a word. Let's start with something that happens before you even open your mouth. First impressions. You've probably heard the saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. But here's the Stoic twist. Your first impression isn't about impressing others. It's about honoring yourself. Let me explain. Imagine this. You're at a networking event. Maybe you're meeting someone important, a potential employer, a client, a new team leader. They walk up to you, extend their hand. But instead of standing up and looking them in the eye, you stay seated. You glance at their hand, maybe mumble a quick "hey" and shake it half-heartedly. Now, think about that moment. What message did your body just send? You might not have meant it, but what came across was, I don't really value this interaction. I'm not fully present, I'm not confident. And the person standing across from you, they feel it. Even if they don't realize it consciously, they'll start treating you with a little less seriousness, a little less respect. That's the power of body language. The Stoics understood this deeply. To them, posture, eye contact, presence, these weren't just good manners. They were reflections of inner values. Confidence without arrogance, calm without weakness, respect without desperation. Let me give you a real-life example. At a leadership seminar I attended, there were about 50 people in the room. One guy stood out not because he was the loudest, but because every time someone walked over to greet him, he stood up, looked them in the eye, smiled, said thank you to the waiter, nodded respectfully to the speaker. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't fake, but it was powerful. People naturally gravitated toward him, not because he was trying to impress, but because he was simply present. You could feel the self-respect radiating off him. Now contrast that with another attendee who stayed seated during most interactions. He didn't mean to be rude, he just wasn't thinking about it. But that small behavior created distance. He had the same qualifications, same ideas, but wasn't treated the same way. That's the thing. In a world that's constantly judging with its eyes before it listens with its ears, how you show up matters. So how can you apply this today? Here's a quick Stoic-inspired checklist for first impressions. When someone approaches you, stand up. Make eye contact, not in an aggressive way, just steady and calm. Offer a handshake that says, I'm here and I value this moment. Keep your phone away. Be fully present, even if it's just for 30 seconds. These little actions say everything about how much you respect yourself and others. And when people see that, they'll mirror it back to you. Remember, being Stoic doesn't mean being cold or distant. It means being intentional. It means using your presence to communicate before you speak. Because when you carry yourself with quiet strength, people will listen, even before you say a word. And that's how you earn respect from the very first second. Skill 2. Handle interruptions with Stoic composure. Let's be honest, Being interrupted is annoying. You are mid-sentence, making a point, maybe even sharing something important. And then, bam, someone jumps in, talks over you, shifts the attention away. You're left hanging, unsure whether to keep talking or just let it go. We've all been there, right? And I feel like most people, your first reaction might be to either shrink back quietly or snap and say something like, "Excuse me, I was talking." But here's what the Stoics would do. They wouldn't raise their voice, they wouldn't get flustered, they'd do something much more powerful. They'd pause, look the interrupter in the eye, and say nothing. Yes, you heard me. Nothing. That silent gaze, it speaks louder than any comeback. It says, you just crossed a line, and I noticed. This is what I call Stoic presence, the ability to control the moment by controlling yourself. Let me share a quick story. At a family dinner last year, I was telling a funny story from my travels. Everyone was listening, until one relative jumped in mid-sentence with their own unrelated story. Classic attention-grabbing move. For a moment, I felt that inner spark, like, wait, seriously? But instead of reacting emotionally, I just stopped, looked at them. Calm, steady, no words, just presence. I let them speak for a few seconds, and then silence. Everyone at the table noticed the awkward energy. Even the person who interrupted felt it. They sort of fumbled, looked around, and said, "Sorry, go ahead." And just like that, I had the floor again. No arguments, no tension, just quiet control. That's the power of a composed reaction. And here's why it works. 1. Most people expect a reaction. They expect you to fight back or fade out. When you don't give them either, they don't know what to do. 2. You shift the spotlight. Now they become the awkward one, not you. 3. You stay in control, which in Stoicism is everything. Marcus Aurelius once said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. And in conversations, this mindset is gold. Because here's the thing, if you lose your cool every time someone is rude, you're giving them power over your peace. But if you respond with calm, intentional presence, you're reminding them that you respect yourself too much to be pulled into their mess. Now let's talk application. What can you do next time someone interrupts you? Try this 3-step Stoic response. 1. Pause immediately. Don't talk over them. Just stop. 2. Make calm eye contact. Not angry, not smug, just firm. 3. After a moment say, let me finish my thought first and then I'd love to hear your point. That last line, pure gold, because you're not being passive and you're not being aggressive. You're setting a clear, respectful boundary. And boundaries are what invite respect. It's also a reminder that respect isn't just demanded, it's taught. People will treat you the way you allow them to. So next time someone cuts you off, don't react, respond with presence. Because how you hold yourself in the moment will determine whether your words are remembered or ignored. And when you do it right, you won't have to raise your voice. Your silence will do the talking. Your calmness will speak volumes. That's how Stoics communicated. Not louder, but deeper. Skill 3. Neutralize humiliating jokes without losing your cool. Let's talk about something that happens way more than we admit. Humor used as a weapon. You're with a group of friends, maybe colleagues. Someone cracks a harmless joke at your expense. People laugh. You smile awkwardly, but deep down it stings. You don't want to be the sensitive one or ruin the mood, so you stay quiet. But inside, you're shrinking. And the worst part, now they think it's okay to do it again. So what do? Stoicism offers a surprisingly powerful way to flip the script without getting angry, defensive, or making it weird. Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I was at a casual reunion with some old high school friends. One guy, who's always been the loud joker, decided to retell a humiliating story from my teenage years. You know the type, something embarrassing that used to be funny, but now it just felt unnecessary. Everyone burst out laughing. Except me. I felt my face get hot. My first instinct snapped back with a sharper joke. But I stopped myself. Instead, I smiled calmly and said, I didn't quite catch that. Could you say it again? He blinked. The laughter started to die. He hesitated, tried to retell it, but now the energy had changed. It wasn't landing the same way. The story sounded awkward the second time around. People looked uncomfortable, the joke had lost its punch, and I didn't have to raise my voice or insult anyone to make that happen. That's the power of calm disruption. Here's why this works. 1. It puts the pressure back on the person who made the joke. Retelling a joke on command makes it feel forced. 2. You don't give away your power. You stay composed, curious even, like it didn't rattle you. 3. It makes the room question the humor. People naturally reflect when the energy drops and they realize something wasn't actually funny. And most importantly, you stay in control of the moment and yourself. Now, what does this have to do with Stoic philosophy? Everything. The Stoics taught that external insults can't touch your inner worth unless you let them. Epictetus said, "What is insulted is opinion, not you. And you are more than opinion." So how can you apply this in your own life? Here's your Stoic response guide when jokes go too far. Step 1. Don't react emotionally. No eye rolls, no biting comments. Just pause. Step 2. Calmly ask, "Could you repeat that?" Like you genuinely didn't hear. Step 3. Observe. Let the moment do the work for you. Bonus move, slight tilt of the head and a calm smile, almost like you're curious, not hurt. This shows confidence, self-possession, and people feel that. You're not playing the victim. You're not attacking the joker. You're simply showing that your self-worth doesn't shake that easily. Because here's the truth, when someone uses humor to put you down, they're testing your boundary. And how you respond teaches them where that boundary is. If you respond with silence and composure, you're not just protecting yourself, you're shifting the culture of that entire space. Imagine how powerful that is. One calm moment changes how everyone around you treats you going forward. You don't have to dominate the conversation. You don't have to clap back harder. You just have to own your presence. So the next time someone makes a joke at your expense, remember this. You get to decide how it ends. Let them repeat it. Let the silence speak. Let your stillness send the message. I am not someone to be laughed at. I am someone to be respected. Skill 4. Diffuse provocation with unexpected calm. Okay, let's talk about provocation. You know those moments when someone clearly wants to push your buttons? They say something rude, cutting, or passive-aggressive, and suddenly the room gets quiet. Everyone waits for your reaction, almost like it's a show, and it is a show. To them, it's entertainment. To you, it's a trap. Now let me ask you this. What would a Stoic do? Let's set the scene. You're at a family gathering. Your cousin or uncle or whoever makes a sly remark about your recent career decision. Something like, "Must be nice not having to work a real job anymore, huh?" You hear the sarcasm, you feel the sting, and all eyes turn to you. Now what most people do in this situation is one of two things. 1. Get defensive. "Actually, I work way harder than you think." 2. Fire back. "At least I don't hate my job." Both responses, totally understandable, but neither gives you what you really want, respect. Instead, try this. Pause, breathe, smile, and say something like, "Hey, does anyone know a good bakery nearby? I was thinking of grabbing something sweet for next time." "Wait, what?" Yep, a completely unrelated question. Soft tone, casual vibe, smooth redirection. What just happened? You interrupted the emotional rhythm of the moment. You derailed the provoker's momentum without drama. And you made it clear that their attempt to rattle you didn't land. This is next-level Stoic communication. See, the Stoics believe that we can't control what people say to us, but we can absolutely control our response. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you respond to provocation with a calm, neutral redirection, you send a crystal-clear message. I'm not giving you control over me. Let me give you a real-world example. A friend of mine, Taylor, works in tech. She was in a team meeting when a coworker made a snide comment about her recent project being cute but not really important. right in front of everyone. Instead of getting flustered or retaliating, she paused, smiled, and asked the team, "By the way, has anyone tried that new cafe across the street? I heard they have great matcha." Everyone laughed, not at her, but at the sheer grace of her response. The guy who made the comment, he shrank back quietly. The tone of the meeting shifted, and she owned the room without saying a single defensive word. That's not avoidance. That's emotional redirection. A power move disguised as a casual comment. Now let's break it down so you can use it too. Here's your 3-step Stoic method for dealing with provocation. 1. Recognize the trap. Understand that the comment is bait. 2. Stay emotionally neutral. Don't play the game. 3. Redirect. Ask a non-threatening, unrelated question, something soft, gentle, disarming. Some quick examples. Anyone catch that movie last weekend? Has the weather always been this weird in April? I was thinking of switching gyms. Any suggestions? It doesn't even matter what the question is. What matters is that you shift the conversation and protect your peace. Because at the end of the day, not reacting is a reaction. One that says, "I'm grounded. I'm not here for petty games, and I value my energy too much to waste it." This is the quiet power of Stoicism. It's not loud, it doesn't clap back, but it commands the room. So next time someone tries to throw a low blow your way, don't take the bait. Change the topic, change the tone, and show them that your attention is a privilege, not a right. Skill 5. Speak with fewer words, but more impact. Let's be honest, we live in a world where everyone's trying to be louder. More words, more opinions, more noise. But here's the truth. Respect doesn't come from how much you say. It comes from how well you say it. And that's exactly what the Stoics mastered. They believed that words should serve a purpose, that every sentence should carry weight, not just fill the silence. They weren't interested in talking just to be heard. They spoke to make things clear, true, and valuable. And if you want people to respect your voice, you need to tighten your message and speak with precision. Let me give you a real-world example. I once worked with a project manager named Sam. Sam wasn't flashy. He didn't dominate meetings. But every time he spoke, everyone listened. Why? Because he said just enough. No rambling, no fluff. When others would go on for 5 minutes explaining something, Sam would speak for 30 seconds and somehow say more. And guess what? People remembered what he said. They quoted him. They asked for his input when it really mattered. That's the power of concise authority. You don't need to speak a lot to be heard. You just need to speak with intention. Now, let's be real, this isn't always easy. Many of us, when we're nervous or passionate, tend to over-explain. We go in circles, trying to make sure we're understood. But ironically, the more we talk, the more we dilute our message. So how do you fix that? Well, here's a powerful Stoic principle to remember. Better to trip with the feet than with the tongue. Zeno of Citium. In other words, watch your words, they shape your world. Here's how to apply this in real-life conversations. 1. Think before you speak. Take just 1 second. Breathe. Ask yourself, what's the core point I want to make? This tiny pause gives you power and helps you avoid rambling. 2. Cut the filler. You don't need to be honest. I just think like you know. Those phrases water you down. Replace them with direct language. Instead of, I just feel like maybe we could consider. Try, let's consider this option. 3. Use silence as punctuation. Don't be afraid of pauses. When you say something meaningful, stop talking. Let it land. The silence afterward gives your words more weight. Let me illustrate this with a scenario. Imagine you're in a meeting and someone says, I don't think your idea really fits the direction of this project. You could launch into a 5-minute defense, or you could respond like a Stoic. Pause, look them in the eye, and calmly say, I understand your concern. Let's review the goals together and see where it aligns. That's it. Short, steady, direct, no panic, no emotional overload. You've shown you're confident, collaborative, and composed under pressure. Now, Here's the magic part. When you speak with calm precision, people not only listen more, they also begin to mirror your energy. They slow down. They choose their words more carefully. They treat your words like they matter because you treat them that way first. This is a huge mindset shift. It's not about being silent. It's about speaking with such clarity and calm that every word becomes a tool, not a reaction. And that's why Stoics were so influential. Not because they were loud, but because they were undeniably grounded. So next time you're about to enter a conversation, whether it's a debate, a presentation, or even just a tough talk with a friend, remind yourself of this. I don't need many words, I just need the right ones. Speak slowly, speak clearly, and speak less, but with more power. Because when your words are sharp, steady, and true, people will not only listen, they'll respect every syllable. Skill 6. Use body language that commands respect without saying a word. Let's be clear. Before you speak a single word, your body is already talking. The way you stand, the way you sit, your facial expressions, even your posture when listening, all of these things are constantly sending messages to the people around you. Now the question is, are those messages working for you or against you? Here's what the Stoics knew. Your presence is more powerful than your pitch. And when you walk into a room with calm confidence before you even say a thing, people are already deciding how much respect to give you. Let me tell you a quick story. A friend of mine, Michael, once interviewed for a leadership position at a major tech company. He told me afterward that he hardly spoke during the first 5 minutes of the interview. Why? Because the executive panel was asking each other questions. Not him. But he didn't slouch. He didn't scroll on his phone. He didn't shrink into his chair. He sat up, shoulders relaxed, hands resting calmly. He maintained soft but steady eye contact with whoever was speaking. He wasn't trying to impress, he was just fully present. Later, the hiring manager told him, "You had presence from the moment you walked in. You didn't say much, but you didn't need to." And yes, he got the job. That's body language at work. Not flashy, not overdone, just aligned with self-respect. Now here's where a lot of people go wrong. They think confidence is about puffing up your chest or taking as much space as possible. But Stoic confidence isn't about dominance. It's about stillness. A grounded energy that says, "I'm not here to prove anything. I am what I am." So let's break this down into 5 easy body language habits you can start using today. 1. Stand and sit tall but relaxed. No need to be stiff. Just hold your posture in a way that tells the world, "I respect myself enough to show up fully." 2. Keep your chin level. Not tilted up like you're arrogant, not down like you're unsure. Level, steady, balanced. 3. Use your hands intentionally. When you talk, don't fidget or hide your hands. Use open, measured gestures to support your points, but don't overdo it. Stoics don't perform, they express. 4. Keep your facial expression calm but alert. You don't need to smile constantly, just be engaged, present. People read your face before they hear your words. 5. Hold eye contact with purpose, not pressure. This one's huge. When you're speaking, hold eye contact long enough to make a connection, then glance away naturally. When you're listening, maintain eye contact to show attentiveness, not intimidation. Now let's connect this to a real-life situation. You're in a meeting, or maybe it's a casual dinner, and someone says something you completely disagree with. You're tempted to jump in, interrupt, correct them. But instead you pause, you sit tall, you stay still, you look at them, not with aggression, but with calm focus. You wait for the right moment. And when you speak, your tone is measured, your expression is steady. You've already won the room before the first sentence is finished. That's the power of embodied communication. Remember, Stoicism isn't just a philosophy of the mind, it's a posture toward life. And when your body reflects that inner clarity, people sense it, they respect it, and they respond to it without you needing to ask for anything. So if you ever feel like you're not being taken seriously, don't just change your words, change your posture. because sometimes your silence and stillness say everything. Skill 7. Listen actively and quietly to earn deep respect. Now, this next one might surprise you, because it's not about what you say at all, it's about how well you listen. In a world where everyone's talking over each other, waiting to speak instead of waiting to understand, one of the fastest ways to earn someone's respect is simply to listen with full presence. Not pretend listening, not nodding while you're thinking of your reply, not waiting for your turn to talk. I'm talking about Stoic listening. Calm, intentional, and deeply focused. Because here's the truth. When you make someone feel truly heard, they automatically see you as someone who's wise, grounded, trustworthy. Let me tell you a story that proves this. A former mentor of mine, James, was the quietest person in any room. Not because he didn't have opinions, but because he wanted to hear yours first. People would speak to him with intensity or emotion, and he'd just listen. No interruption, no immediate reaction, just eye contact, the occasional nod, and a slight tilt of the head like he was actually absorbing what you were saying. Then, when he did speak, he always nailed it. He responded to the heart of what you said, not just the words. And because of that, people respected him immensely. What was his secret? He mastered the art of listening to understand, not listening to reply. And that's one of the most overlooked communication skills in the world today. Now let's tie this back to Stoicism. The Stoics believed in controlling your impulses, including the impulse to speak. They valued clarity of thought over constant expression. They knew that silence wasn't weakness. It was wisdom under construction. Here's what Epictetus said. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. That wasn't just clever, it was strategic. Because the person who listens well, they learn faster, they avoid unnecessary conflict, and they command quiet respect, simply making others feel safe to speak. So, how can you practice Stoic listening in your daily life? Here are 5 simple but powerful habits. 1. Stop thinking about what you'll say next. Just focus on the speaker. Let your mind be a blank slate instead of a loaded gun. 2. Use open body language. Lean in slightly. Keep your arms relaxed. Signal that you're engaged without even saying a word. 3. Acknowledge without interrupting. Nod. Say, I see, or that makes sense. Give gentle cues that you're tracking, but don't hijack the conversation. 4. Pause before you respond. Let a moment of silence exist after they finish speaking. This not only shows respect, it gives you time to respond thoughtfully. Number 5. Reflect what you heard. Say something like, so if I understand you right, you're saying. That shows you care enough to really understand, not just react. Let me paint a real-life scenario for you. You're in a tense conversation with a coworker who's frustrated. They're venting, maybe even being a little harsh. Your ego wants to defend itself, to say that's not fair or you're misunderstanding me, but instead, you breathe, you let them speak, you maintain eye contact, stay calm, and say, it sounds like this has been building up for a while. I appreciate you sharing it with me. Let's talk about how we can fix it together. Boom. You've shifted the energy completely because you didn't meet fire with fire. You met frustration with focus. That's Stoic power. Not reactive, not emotional, just steady, open, and grounded. And here's the best part. People remember how you made them feel. And when they feel heard by you, they will respect your presence more than any flashy words ever could. So if you want to communicate like a Stoic, speak less, listen more. And let your silence build trust, not distance. Because in a world full of noise, the quiet listener is the one they remember. Skill 8. Know when to walk away to protect your worth. This last one is the hardest, but it's also the most powerful. Sometimes the most respectful thing you can say is nothing at all. You just walk away. Let me be clear. Walking away isn't weakness. It's not giving up. It's not silence from shame, it's silence from strength. Because there are moments in life when no matter how calmly you speak, no matter how clearly you set your boundaries, no matter how respectfully you express yourself, you're still not being heard, still not being taken seriously, still being disrespected, dismissed, or undervalued. And in those moments, Stoicism gives us the most dignified option. Leave the table where your value isn't recognized. Let me share a true story. A woman I know, let's call her Sarah, was a brilliant creative working in a corporate agency. She constantly brought fresh ideas, stayed late, hit deadlines, but her manager constantly interrupted her in meetings, ignored her input, took credit for her work. At first, Sarah thought, maybe I need to speak up more. She did. It didn't change. She tried being more assertive, more polite, more accommodating. Still nothing. Then one day during a big presentation she helped prepare, her manager publicly shut her down before she could even finish her sentence. That was her moment. She calmly closed her laptop. She said, I think I need to invest my energy somewhere it's valued. And she walked out. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She simply walked with clarity and self-respect. A few weeks later, she got hired at a company that actually celebrated her creativity. She's now thriving. That's Stoic communication. Because here's the thing. The Stoics never told us to stay in toxic environments and endure. They told us to focus on what we can control. And one thing you can always control is where you place your energy. Marcus Aurelius said you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Sometimes that strength looks like staying calm in chaos. Other times, it looks like walking away and never looking back. Now, walking away doesn't always mean quitting your job or ending a relationship. Sometimes it's simply choosing not to argue with someone who doesn't want to understand. Sometimes it's saying, this conversation isn't productive right now. Let's pause. Sometimes it's physically leaving the room when the energy becomes disrespectful. You don't have to prove your worth to people who are committed to not seeing it. You just have to act like someone who knows their value. Here's how to use this final Stoic skill with clarity in class. 1. Recognize when respect is no longer present. Don't wait for the 10th time. Trust your gut. 2. Detach with grace, not drama. No long explanations, no begging, no revenge speeches. Just, this isn't for me anymore. 3. Let your absence speak louder than your presence. When people notice the quiet you leave behind, they'll feel your worth more than they ever did before. And here's what's beautiful about this kind of communication. It's not loud, it's not public, it's not petty, it's sacred, because nothing demands more respect than someone who can stand up silently and say, I deserve better. So if you ever find yourself in a situation where your words are being twisted, ignored, or walked over, don't yell to be heard. Don't beg to be seen. Just rise and leave. Not because you're weak, but because you're finally strong enough to walk away from anything that no longer honors your worth. And there you have it. 8 timeless communication skills inspired by Stoic philosophy. Each one designed not just to help you speak, but to speak with presence, with purpose, and most of all, with self-respect. We live in a noisy world. Everyone's trying to be louder, faster, more impressive. But the Stoics remind us of a deeper truth. You don't have to raise your voice to be heard. You don't have to fight to be respected. You just have to be grounded, intentional, and true to yourself in every conversation. Whether it's how you carry yourself, how you handle interruptions, or knowing when it's time to walk away, each skill we talked about today is a reminder that real strength begins within. So if any of this resonated with you, if you're ready to stop chasing attention and start commanding respect in your everyday life, you're already on the right path. Now, if you found value in this video, it would mean a lot if you could like the video to let YouTube know it was helpful. Subscribe for more insights on Stoicism, mindset, and everyday confidence. And maybe even drop a comment below. Tell me, which of the 8 skills hit home for you, or just type, I choose calm. to let me know you were here and you're ready to practice these in real life. Your presence here, your attention, it's something I don't take lightly. So truly, thank you for watching all the way to the end. You are not invisible. You are not powerless. You are not here to be spoken over. You are here to speak with clarity, courage, and the quiet confidence of someone who knows their worth. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay grounded, stay calm, and I keep speaking with intention.